right, we're back at it. We're back at it. Peace and wellness, everybody. We are back with the Be Well Bro podcast. Well, I'm sitting here with my great guy, got my man.
What's up, man? Jason Starr, you know, STARR in the building.
And we can't forget about the legendary.
I want to say it cool like Jason, like it was dope. STARR. I'm coach.
Cool. COOP.
Y'all know me, and you know, it's me, 6 in the building. X6IXX. All kisses to the moms and the ladies. You already know. So, gentlemen, we are back. We're back in it, and I'm happy to talk about love language and lifestyles. That is what the mission is today. And I feel like it's something that I think always grabs at us when we get into this time of the year. And people are trying to figure out, either you're reading your astrology or you're talking to somebody and they're talking about their love attachments and their love language. And we always looking kind of crazy. But I think it's important for us to actually have a conversation of, when does love become performative? Or when does love become a performance review? And that's kind of like what I thought about when I was thinking about this episode, and I was like, man, February, I'm a hater. I ain't got
definitely hate, bro. Performance review.
I feel like them loaded questions. Like, what you trying to ask at this point, bro? Then, like, yeah.
What I'm trying to zero in it to the emotional wellness part of it.
Okay.
Like, here we are. We couple love with so many other things, and I don't feel like love is the actual act of it, right? And so, when did love become a performance review? And when is love performative?
I'm gonna let Coach take that in the first instance.
I'm gonna say, it is probably.
He's the married man on the air, on the panel. Yeah.
Woo. So I'm gonna say, from that standpoint and that privilege, that love should always be a performance. I think that when you are in covenant with someone, that is an act, and you should put yourself in position to want to perform for your partner every single day, as long as you are breathing this earth. There might be things that you're not used to, you've never been exposed to, and you may not want to do. But because your partner wants to do it, you have to perform in that act. And I'll be honest with you, I just learned that. I think that I've been obviously tainted by love once, renewed in love, and then really had my own kind of like notion around, like, as long as I'm here and I'm waking up and I'm, doing what the Lord say I'm supposed to be doing based on this relationship, then I'm good. But for example, like, I never really celebrated Christmas like that. And my wife, Shantine, she loved Christmas. And I'd be like, God damn, we got to do it again. And just this past holiday, she was just like, I know you don't like it, but I love it. So if you love me, then why you don't just like enroll yourself? And I was like, yeah, man, I never thought of it in that perspective. You're right. I could go hard, not because I want to do it, because I love you enough to actually go and get the tree and be happy that you love the tree, even though I don't necessarily going to do it. So I think love, to sum it all up, for me, love is you should always want to perform. And I want to be the best performer in my relationship.
What about you, Jason? What you got?
Coach, just that example you brought about, Shantini loving Christmas and you loving Shantini enough to figure out how to love Christmas. Yeah. That kind of performance sounds to me like showing up. And when Six asked the question, the first thing that came to mind for me was the performative nature of love as it relates to how you are expressing that to everybody else, what it looks like, and how it might compare to what other people's love looks like. So when I think like way back, to my childhood, pre-social media days and that kind of thing, like, there was still an element of that, right? Like, I'm going back to elementary school on Valentine's Day and thinking about like,
100%.
who gonna get the biggest? Right. Right, yeah. Or like,
prom night.
That's one too. Or I'm actually thinking about the elders in my life, my parents or aunts and uncles and the adults, Christmas time or whatever. It was like, what the gift look like, what your husband got you, what your wife got you kind of situation. And it made me think about how, of course, I think today, as we live our lives so much online and social media and whatnot, there is this this thread of content that I actually don't engage with. But it'd be the relationship content is like crazy out there. And there's so many people, couples and relationships who have made like the love between them content and commercial and sellable.
There you go.
And it makes me wonder, what about that may be inconsistent or in tension with like the depth of emotional vulnerability and connection that has to happen when you're talking about that kind of love with somebody else.
And I think I see too much of that. And that's probably what is prompting me to like feel like I'm feeling when I think about it, because we can only remember the instances. Like you brought the elders, you brought like childhood, and then Coop, you brought these moments of like real practice, right? And so I see that conversation not happening, and it annoys me because everything becomes a checklist. And that's where I'm at, where I'm looking at love like a checklist. And if you don't hit these measurements or these metrics of an action, then you don't love me enough. You're not doing enough to show me you love me. So I'm like, damn, what is this? I didn't know this was a job interview. I didn't know this is a test. I thought I read one of my favorite authors, Paulo Coelho. Check out The Alchemist. And then one of my favorite books is By the River I Sat and Wept. And he says, and I never forget this, and I try to, put it on one of my girlies. I like, if you want to love me, I think you should read this, because it would give you a better understanding of how.
But what, she's not a reader? What if she can't read?
It's an audiobook.
Yo, she can't. If she can't read, cool.
Get the audio.
It's an audiobook.
Get the audio.
If she get
here.
In 2026, you can't read.
Like, you just never know, man.
Yo, this public schools, I'm not doing that.
Without prejudice over here.
Yo, like Jason said, I'm gonna get the audiobook, but she didn't read the book.
Or she didn't perform.
But I was always I had to perform. I had to do the wake up in the morning text. I had to do the good night text. And the only action that I asked to be seen was read this for me.
Well, you bring up a good point around, obviously today's episode is centered on, the emotional wellness dimension of wellness, right? And, something that you just said struck me, because I think, when we think about where does love and connection fit within all of these dimensions, and it's what you just said, right? Like the importance of being seen. And I would say the importance of being seen without being judged, right? Because I don't think one can open themselves up to really being seen in the way that they need to be unless there is an environment where
judgment.
They feel like they're judgment free, right? Yeah. And you want that safety in your intimate relationships, right? You want the safety of the non-judgment of the container, there's nothing that you can expose to me or share with me that will make me run away or change. You want that kind of safety in order to get to the place of emotional vulnerability so that real connection can happen. And so for me, like that becomes the most important part of why I even want to be in an intimate relationship with someone in the first place.
Ooh, so then cool, you got something to add, because then I thought of another question I wanted to throw out there.
No, yeah, throw the question out, because I think I was struggling with the showing up, the performative part. I think that we have to change the way that we perceive these things, and I get that, like with social media, there is an act, but I also do think that for the most part, people who are showing or displaying their affections online, even if they made a conscious decision to do it from a equitable standpoint, there is some type of partnership there. Now, I don't know how long the partnership will last or if they will allow the society to then put their opinions in their relationships. But there's a lot of people who display their love on social platforms and on television who are deeply in love or started out deeply in love.
Right.
And because it became business, it became more performative, if you will. So, yeah, man, I don't have a problem with the performative aspect or the showing up to the word, the phrase that Star used. Yeah, man. If I'm not performing for you, then what are we doing?
And performance has even in its phrasing, it has a duality to it, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have the performative action where I'm just doing it as a response, and you have the performing action of like, I am going to be here and do this thing to show you that I am committed to the action. And so, it lives in both worlds, right?
It's funny because I got to bring this up.
Go ahead.
In the show notes, 6, you kind of frame the love languages question. Yeah, it's like kind of like what's that bullshit? and look, there are probably there is no paradigm, that fits the vastness of human experience, right? And even talking about the 8 dimensions of what that's a paradigm, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like it's a way to begin to kind of understand, but it's not. It doesn't describe the entire human experience. But like when it comes to the love languages, and I think that's a thing that people can like grab onto.
I don't mean to cut you off. So I got a question for him though. Like when you think about being performative in a relationship, because you asked us the question.
I did.
Where did that idea come to part for you?
Facts.
Okay.
Like how did this right? And obviously you said you seen it on social media, but have you ever experienced being in a relationship where you were almost like getting rated?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It was a situation. If this person ever listens, you know who you are. And I'm not so they
the names have been changed to protect the innocent. To protect the guilty.
And it's a record. All right. So I'm gonna keep it on. So the person used to text me like, I miss you all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I would see them a lot throughout the week, and I would be like, no response. And
it was wrong.
I did it. And so they came to me and they're like, yo, 6, every time I text you, I miss you. You don't ever text me back. I'm like, I see you 3-4 times a week. I can't miss you. It's not an action. I cannot miss you because I see you. And then they're like, I just need you to say it back. I need reassurance from that. And I was like, oh, so you want me to performatively say something then? And they're like, I wouldn't put it like that. And I'm like, but if I don't actually miss you and you want me to say it, what am I doing? Am I not, is that not a performative action?
Well, it sounds like you're being petty, actually.
Yeah. So that's you complicated. I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say this to help me out, Star, because I'm trying to chop this down. So 3 times a week you're with somebody physically.
Yeah.
In a physical presence. It is different than physically not being with them. So there can be a yearning for companionship, physical companionship.
Okay.
So the missing aspect is not just because y'all were in concert together. It's just like she's missing the physical aspect of it, right? You don't miss the physical aspect.
I just saw you 3 times.
That wasn't the telling piece of the story, though.
What
to me, the telling piece of the story was when she said, when she responded, I just need reassurance. Because what was being said, I miss you, versus not being responded to.
I get that thumbs up.
That well, thumbs up. Are you crazy? No. But what this person then responded to, what that communication was actually reassurance. Is like what I need. And so it was less about like performing that I miss you versus then going like, oh, this is information about like the way that you are feeling and the labor that you feel like you are doing in order to be in relationship with me.
Okay.
And I don't know what that person needed reassurance for. But that to me was the next conversation that we would need to have. Because otherwise you're just going back and forth around like a piece of a piece of communication that's not actually like, but what information did that give you to then say, okay, like when this person relates to me, right, and we're together in that way, like there's an assurance. When we aren't, there is something that is lost. What is that's being lost, and how do we work on that so that wherever we meet is still honest?
Yeah, but it's also a level of selfishness on your behalf, because earlier you said you gave her a manual to read to understand you, but she's also giving you a manual, right, for you to understand her. If yearning for my partner is a part of how I show love, then you don't have to say I miss you too. Like, I can't wait to see you, because you are looking for a time that you are going to eventually see this person, right?
I would not disagree with that.
Okay, so there's some the word play is like the missing you is like, oh, like I don't want this to be laborious, but it's not really about that. It's about the because she probably didn't want to see you that day either. She's just like, I miss you, right? Like that's almost like saying I love you. I can't wait to see you again.
And again, they end this, and I'll land the plane. After I was told it was a lesson of reinsurance, and then we went through. Obviously, I might have been petty.
Might have been.
Thumbs up.
Petty.com.
Thumbs up.
I gave a thumbs up. I'm a work in progress.
Absolutely.
That is nasty way. Yeah.
We all are.
I'm gonna be vulnerable. I was like, yo, okay, I get you. I hear you, Queen. You miss me, and I'm gonna be better at responding. And then the thumbs up happened, and then they didn't like that. And then they said, no, Six, I'm trying to get reassurance from you. And I was like, okay, we can figure out other ways that I can show it or say it. What would be the best way for me to communicate that? Their response was, I don't know. That's your job.
Yeah.
And I was like,
All right. Well, that's information.
I was like, okay. And maybe I just don't know. That's why I'm bringing it to the world. I'm bringing it to y'all, because I'm trying to get better at the things that I miss out on.
Well, I think it goes to what Star was trying to bring us to, and hopefully we can segue into this part. In love language, the love language is for you to understand how your partner communicates, right? And vice versa. So when they understand your love language, now because they're walking into your world, your country, your orbit, I can't go to China expecting for people just to all speak English. I have to, if I make the choice to visit this space, I have to know the language in order for me to get around, to navigate, to cultivate. So when you hear a person's love language, it's just not just for information. It is actually for you to then communicate with them through that language.
Yeah. And also it's to me also a way to ask the question why.
Okay.
This may sound messed up, but like I think the safest thing to do is to go into any relationship making the assumption that you're screwed up and the other person is screwed up, right? Because like we just, I mean, like, right, exactly. And now you're asking me to be in like intimate emotional space, you know? And in order to do that, like I'm probably going to need to be examining why I show up the way that I do. And ideally, like you're in a situation where like there's no blame or judgment, but there is inquiry. Like, why are you reacting like that? Like, why when I tell you like, let's go do this and this and this and this and this, and to me, that's like me showing you I love you, and you like, I don't want to do none of that stuff because quality time ain't your love language. You like, buy me something, or you know, like so I do. It's important, and we can have a conversation about why that is. Hey, we should. But to your point, Barry, like I do think there is a responsibility, you know, that you have to try to figure out how to start speaking the love language that this person speaks and understands, so that real communication, deeper communication, further communication can happen.
And I stand on that. And you know, I had an opportunity to reflect on it. Obviously, that thing ended. The thumbs up did not land.
Thumbs up.
It did not land well.
Oh my God. I'm just like going back in my own way about like times in which I just wanted to be petty. And like, I was like, oh yeah, I'll respond to that deeply emotional thing with the prayer hands.
I wasn't in the thing. I wasn't even trying. That was the best I had. I was like, because I don't like that. I don't like the feeling of feeling like I have to do something. And And not that I don't want to show up or not that I don't want to perform, but I was just like, if I commit to saying the thing you want me to say, I am a parrot. And so, you know, and untying my emotional knots gets me better at this moment. And then, you know, and I'm just
I'm going to say that this is maybe not for you, but it's just something that's coming up for me that I think a lot of us struggle with, and especially men. We don't like expectations, right? And then sometimes it's rooted in our own inadequacies that we have about ourselves and
fear of failure.
Yeah, fear of failure and who we are in this world and what we mean in this world. And many of us, because we kind of like ride this train, for lack of a better word, but it's the only thing that's coming to me right now, is this kind of like this mediocre. I don't want to use that because it may not be. It's not that, but it's just like this safeguard that we operate in, and we unrelenting of really trying to operate in expectation. Like, it's difficult when your significant other says like, "Hey," right? Because they are your mirror, right? I don't care who you with, what the relationship look like. Whenever you engage in intimacy with somebody, they literally become your mirror. And when you look in that real mirror, you start to see all the fat that is there that you have to like literally cut in order to operate in this relationship. That's difficult for some people.
Yeah.
Right? Because now it calls attention, not just who you are to them, but who you are to yourself. Like, she's like, yo, reassurance. Like, why can't you give her reassurance?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
you know,
Where'd that come from? And that's not just for you.
No, I know.
That's just like for everybody that's gonna be watching, you know, or paying attention. Like, yo, I want the people around me to be reassured when I'm around.
Yeah.
Like, just think of the level of safety that you create when people can rely on you.
Yeah.
That, you know, so it's just, you know.
And longing is
I think that was a better word. If I had heard that, I would.
Longing is a real, it does something to you.
Yeah.
Because, you know, you meet someone, like you're engaging with them, you enjoy their company. Like, you know, as Barry kind of mentioned, that response might be, you know, I can't wait to see you again, kind of thing. You know, you wake up one day and there's a tipping point where you're like, oh, I am deep in it. Yeah. And you start to want to know, is that other person
feeling that,
as deep in here as I am? Because, you know, that if not, that can be a very lonely, exposed place. And I think, Barry, when you talked about as men, you know, thinking about like the ways in which we are conditioned, the ways in which we look at strength, how vulnerability and strength relate to one another, et cetera. You know, kind of being exposed like that is a little bit inconsistent with how we are socialized. And I think you can see a lot of behaviors of trying to protect against being that exposed and that open. Because like, if she break my heart, what it's gonna look like when I'm out here with the fellas, and like I'm like, you know, because it's gonna hurt. Like, if it's real, it's gonna hurt bad, right? And that healing is not gonna be linear, and it's gonna require you to really step outside of how people how you think you might be perceived. And you talk about that mirror, and I think about that intimate relationship as also like the shadow work, you know, because if you really like that with somebody, they're going to put light on.
And those dirty.
Yeah, that stuff that you just like, I'm not going to, you know. Yeah.
Them habits that you used to, you know what I'm saying? Like hiding and navigating on your own, and they with you all the time. It's just
that
like,
deeply rooted bullshit that you don't want to deal with, that reparenting you got to do that. Like,
they not talking about me.
It's real though.
No, and you know, I think it speaks on two levels. And level one was there was a fear.
Yeah.
There was a fear of like of disappointing a person. And knowing that they have very high expectations of the relationship. And then knowing that I was operating not from a place where I couldn't live up to it, but I was like, maybe we move a little bit fast of what you see our future as and versus where I see our right now as. and let's get there. And the labor of reassuring that we can get there was the thing that I was just like getting a little bit tired of. Because I don't know how to make those promises. And I don't feel comfortable making these promises of when or how. That's just me. I'm a little flight.
But, no, and that's real. And I think that what people need to realize is and it's all in communication, right? Like if you are navigating, and this is critical, bro. Like only you know what position you are on the chessboard.
Right.
Right. Like you the only person that knows, like, all right, well, I got this here, I got this together, that, these things I need to work on. So when you enter in a relationship, there's some reconnaissance that person needs to do, and you need to be forthcoming as much as obviously human possible based on the length of the relationship. I don't think that you should throw everything out there. But there should be some truth to the matter. Like, yo, I'm here, I got this happening, that can like impact the development and the connection in the beginning. And then obviously when you build more safety and trust, you can release some more, but that's back to that vulnerability without being afraid of the judgment, right? And when you start to operate in your own self-trust, when you were sharing, they might get the eyebrow because it might be shocking to them, but if they care about you enough, they will give you the empathy and the space that you need to continue the relationship. So like, don't put it on you that you have to be a certain way once you are engaging, just as long as we are forthcoming with who we are and where we are in our space. Because that person doesn't know that. All they know is the person who swiped left on Tinder, said it was a connection, and now you're on the date and you put on your best demo.
Yeah.
And the demo is, I'm talking about IKEA level.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm just being straight
Or
out.
Flanagan. Nah, IKEA. When you put IKEA furniture together, you can't take that shit back apart.
You gotta walk, you gotta come with the flow. There's a science.
Never. I want to throw another wrench into this because I keep thinking about like how we have these conversations about our intimate relationships outside of our intimate relationships. And, one of the things that mistakes I feel like we make is we put all of our emotional needs into that one relationship because society, I think, has constructed this sort of this one person for this one person.
Yeah.
And the reality is that like no one person has everything that we need, and how, especially when you're talking about heterosexual relationships and the ways in which women are socialized to do more emotional labor. And I do see, like, I think about, like, again, my elders and stuff in my family and how that dynamic kept coming up. And because, shout out to my uncles, those who have left and those who are still here. I love y'all. But like, it's, y'all didn't have or build the community of real brothers, friends, etc. And also the capacity and language and willingness to consider emotional work to be your responsibility as well. And so you're putting all of that stuff into this one relationship container when it actually isn't really designed to, and the stress that it puts on relationships when we don't have other healthy emotional outlets.
No, I can second and third. I think the one thing I've been fortunate about when it came to that was like, I grew up fortunately with like a situation with a few good like men who were really had friendships, had brotherhood, had connections outside of their relationships. And that was the one thing that I kept throughout my whole life, even now.
What do y'all mean by relationship? Like side chick? Or
no, like friendships, man. That's just, yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, although it's a very good dream because I feel like the male friendships and relationships were all about like which side chicks you got. Like that would be okay, as opposed to some real like, why do I feel like I need a side chick? Yeah.
Dun, dun, dun. You're not gonna talk about our grandpappies. and I always had that. And I used to get, I don't have to incriminate myself nowhere. No, never that. Never that. No, nah. No.
Not maybe.
No. I have I luckily I have friendships that were vulnerable enough and emotionally safe enough for me to be honest about what I was going through. And then that kind of hurt. Why don't you talk to me about your problem? I'm not doing all of that. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to call Coop and he going to give me an hour. I'm going to cry to him for about it. Let me run through my unfiltered thoughts. I'll come back and talk to you when I'm like, I feel comfortable about what I'm thinking and what I'm feeling. And that's always what I did. That's always what I've had. I feel good about that. But it has in some ways made me a little too hesitant to use my emotional or intimate partner as a soundboard. And I think a lot of guys suffer from that too.
No, I think that's a myth, man. Y'all lying to yourselves.
What you mean?
Cause you act like you walk into the crib because you released it here. That you ain't walking in with that same fucking information.
Yeah.
Now that you release it, now you coming in with this chip on your shoulder and it's showing up. And that's why they be like, what's wrong? Right? When someone asks you what's wrong is because they are reading something from you and you be like, well, ain't nothing wrong because you think that you got rid of it. And it's just like, no, that information to me personally, obviously, if I'm going to somebody, it's going to be post my conversation with my significant other.
Okay.
Right? To give both perspectives, right, to the person that is going to be the third, the fourth, or the fifth party hearing it, because then it become only one-sided.
That's why you my friend.
No. But wait a minute though. The thing about it is like, it's not always the challenges in the relationship that's wrong. What's wrong, right? It might be like, I'm feeling real. I'm feeling like I got a couple of like life decisions in front of me that I would have gone to my dad about, but he passed away 10 years ago. And so the last of I've been really like, that's been really hitting me because I want to talk to this person. You know what I'm saying?
In fact,
but it's showing up in the relationship, right? And so like, to your point, right? Like, yeah, you do owe your intimate partner that like, listen, this is a struggle I've been having. This is what's wrong. This is what you bring.
Absolutely.
I need to go over here and holler at my boy Barry about this so I can kind of, you know what I'm saying? And show up.
Yes. Better.
Yeah.
No, that is fine. But know that even if you did it the other way,
which I do,
right? You got the feeling. You go outside, you release it, whatever, however you do, and you get the support that you need. You're still coming in with the reflective conversation and the pondering. And that is that energy is going to be expressed. And when you get your most vulnerable, which you are at home, right? In your shadow, that's what we're talking about. Your partner is going to feel that energy.
Yeah.
And if you do not give that information to your partner, that's messed up.
And sometimes that information is only as far as like, yes, I'm feeling out of sorts. I'm feeling these things. I don't know why.
Yes.
I don't know why. But I do to you like, because it's always about like that place that we've decided that we're gonna be in together. Like that's a lot of vulnerability. And if I'm there and you're giving me signs and signals that you aren't, like that's going to create
100%.
Like,
and you don't know how they're gonna respond to your silence.
Yeah.
Like, yo, this motherfucker acting funny, like, or wondering if I did something wrong.
Is he cheating on me? Is he getting it from somebody else? Yeah. Yeah. And we can talk about the difference between a physical affair and an emotional affair. Yeah.
And that's what the Be Well Bro podcast is about. It's about having these kind of conversations. A lot of things that I'm saying right now are fictional and only for the purposes of creating good content.
All right, let me do this 3P.
Go ahead. We are back. Thank you for everybody who listened to all of our shout outs and making sure to follow us on all of our social platforms.
Yeah.
And so when we get back into it, and we've been talking a lot and really deep diving into how we communicate, what the love languages look like.
Yeah.
You should promptly respond with not thumbs up or emojis.
Yeah, don't do that.
Thumbs up is wild.
Got you, boss.
Yeah.
I'm learning how to use my words.
I miss you so much. Thumbs up.
And I hit the salute too. Like,
Wow.
I'm practicing. I'm practicing.
Good work.
Yo, but it brings up a good question, right? And I think in this conversation, it opened up a lot for me, just being honest about just some of the things that I struggle with love language, because that, you know, she was in an ancient attachment love language. I think I read that on the blog when I was trying to.
She was in the ancient attachment.
She was anxious
Attachment style, yeah.
The accent.
Yeah, as opposed to a more secure attachment style.
We locked in. You know, I got you. I'm here for you. I walk your dog. I left my tools at your house.
Yeah.
That's a George Lopez skit. Yeah, check that one out. It was hilarious. But it really doesn't lend us to get to that point of like, what does healthy emotional wellness look like for us when we are actually operating in a place of wellness and safety?
I mean, I can start. Yeah, that's a big question. But I can start, and I can only speak from, you know, I'll start just from my own personal experience. But for me, a good start is just developing better language and, you know, kind of the like building blocks of things like an attachment style or, you know, for me, it got very basic to where with my therapist, the first thing we started with was like the emotions wheel, just like having more language to describe and talk about how you're feeling. And
wait, tell people what the emotional wheel is though.
So the emotions wheel, for all the folks out there who may not know, literally go to Google, type in emotions wheel, you're gonna get it. But essentially, it's a tool that it gives you more language to describe your emotional state or how you're feeling. So it starts from the inner part of the circle, which is, you know, I think some really common language that we all use: angry, fear, happy, you know, those kinds of things. And then it builds out from those emotions to give you more textured and nuanced words. So anger could also be broken out into, you know, disappointment, frustration, abandonment, confusion, those kinds of things, loneliness, etc. So, really, really useful tool. And that's just the way that's how I learn. That's how I open up. It's familiar to me, you know, to be a student and sort of sit down and grapple with those things in that way. So for me, that was at least a big piece of my emotional wellness journey is starting to get the language and the tools so I could understand myself better. Yeah.
I agree. And I think that what you ended on is where I probably want to start. I think the first relationship is with yourself. So whatever I'm navigating outside of who I am, I'm always checking my own temperature, my own pulse, and my own barometers around my feelings. And before I even explain anything to a person, I take it upon myself to express the feelings first. So I'm like, hey, this is what's coming up for me. This is what I'm feeling. And then I'm given the context of where the feeling is coming from. You know, sometimes it's not always, you know, received, but before I'm going to elaborate on the experience, I need for you to know how I feel. And then I need to also be able to say that out loud for myself as well. So I'm checking my pulse, because you may not be receiving what I'm saying, because those are your ears and your body, and you're going to respond to what you're hearing in the way that you respond to it. So that way I don't go crazy and flip the lid. So like once I start to feel like that frustration is moving into, I want to slap shit out of you, or shut the fuck up, I'm going to say, okay, this is what I'm feeling, and I think I need a moment, right? So I think that I agree with everything that Star lifted out with the emotional will, and like knowing it or knowing it enough gives you the ability to always check your emotional barometer So and you should like activate yourself through that because you can't control your emotions. So that's the one thing you can't control. That shit is innate and it comes up and it's triggered and you get.
And I think for me, in a lot of the process would be trying to become, work on the consistency of trying to be better. I think we talked a while ago, I talked about my need to self-isolate. And when I get overstimulated emotionally, where I am, I tend to get distant. So for me, it's about learning to communicate that, say that out loud, naming the feeling that I'm feeling while I'm feeling it. Hey, I'm being a little overstimulated. Maybe this conversation is a little bit too heavy for me right now. Let me process and I promise I'll come back with the intention of coming back. I think that's something that I've been practicing and trying to be better at is A, acknowledging the feeling that the other person is having, but then B, centering myself and being like, all right, maybe I cannot have this conversation right now, but I promise you I will I'll discuss it with you so that we can, meet in the middle. And then also figuring out better ways to like work through my frustration or my anger or whatever I'm feeling is something that I think I learned to practice more. So my walk with my dog turns into a jog, turns into, a little bit of some like light exercise. I think has been good for me. And then really like leaning into my hobbies, and not like depriving myself of the hobbies that kind of ground me and center me. I think finding that is something that I think is important for everybody to do because emotions can run hot and, it's okay to take a second, take a breath, take a step up, take a step away, or change the environment. I think that's been big. I don't argue in the same space.
Yeah.
So we having a very heated level, like conversation and it's getting a little spicy. Hey, let's go on a walk and have this. Let's go sit in the park. Let's not sit in this apartment. Let's not sit in this space. If we change the space, maybe we change the energy. And the conversation tends to work out a little bit better. But naming it, taking a step back, changing the environment in which we're having the conversation has been something that I think has been helpful. And, I give that to y'all outside.
Name it, change it, take a step back.
Change it, take a step back. I also just want to challenge the notion that there are positive and negative emotions, right? And I think we as men sometimes have. Well, I'll start by saying I think we have, embedded senses of duty and responsibility and forget that our first duty and responsibility is to ourselves because we can't show up in all those other ways in the way that we want to, or we can't even examine why we may feel like we need to until we examine that like relationship and responsibility we have, to ourselves. And on the positive and negative emotions piece, it's like, I think that a lot of us would do well by just getting together and watching some, children's content, like Inside Out, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, because, and I referenced that movie specifically because, they really personify these emotions and, joy and happiness and like groundedness and rootedness are there, right? But anxiety, fear, disappointment, resentment, jealousy, they're also there.
And they all have access to the board.
They got a space in the car. And like, as opposed to sort of saying, I will be well when I only experience these emotions that are considered to be positive. The reframe has got to be, I will be well when I have a container that is durable and sturdy enough to hold all of them and to not let one or the other one drive the bus when it don't need to be in the front. Yeah.
That's absolutely. That's spot on. And also understanding that every one of the emotions have access to the steering wheel. And at some point, you can't be sad.
Yeah.
At some point, you can't be angry. At some point, you can't be frustrated and confused. You can be all those things because they aren't bad. They are feelings.
Yeah.
Right? And I can be angry and I can draw. I can be angry and I can go take a walk, like you mentioned earlier. I can be frustrated and I can take a walk around the block. You know what I mean? Like, so like understanding that the feelings are feelings and they're not necessarily bad. What you do with the feelings, because somebody can get happy and go get hot, right? That's a detriment to your physical being, right? So some people get excited and blow all their money, So it's just like the feelings are feelings. There's no good or bad. Like I agree with that wholeheartedly. And then you like know them and know you. Yeah, we can go down a rabbit hole, but I think language itself is powerful.
And it is. And I think we landed the plane for everybody. And I think we want to just say this to everybody, you know, when you catch this, that love is not a performance. I know we've talked a lot about it. Love is not a performance. It's a practice. It's a practice on how you show up. It's a practice on how you listen. It's a practice on how you do the work in learning how to communicate. It's a practice on being a better text messenger.
Practice.
We talk about you're not talking about the game, man.
Game. Practice.
But perfect practice
makes perfect performance.
Hey. And so
always go back to it.
And so we'll give you this. Name 3 emotions you felt this week that weren't anger or stress. This is our call out to you, our people who are listening to the Be Well Bro podcast. Name 3 emotions you felt this week that were not anger or stress. And let's get better as men and as people as identifying other emotions that we are feeling and working through, right? So that we can start to understand where we are and how we're feeling and what those triggers look like. And if you can give it a name, you can see it, I think, and that makes us better. So
yeah, where they can find us at?
On all things Be Well Bro, on our podcast is the Be Well Bro podcast. Shout out to that. On our Instagram, it's Be Well Bro. YouTube.
The Bro Experience Foundation.
The Bro and Beer. The
Bro Experience Foundation. You got the tongue tie.
The Bro Experience Foundation YouTube.
That's right.
Bro Experience Foundation YouTube.
Till next time, folks.
From today forward,
Peace.
Be well.
Bye.